And I did not think at the time that that was so far over the edge that it was a red alert that was flashing. I didn't see it. I just thought he knew what he was doing. Hubbard enjoyed these punishments. He did not need wire fences to hold people in. He shocked people into compliance with his will. And my husband at the time told us that if we had arrived earlier, Hubbard planned to appoint me as captain of the Royal Scotsman to quote-unquote fix everything. And I knew I had escaped a time bomb. I mean, how do you question withholding toilet paper as a form of improving people or helping them gain their salvation or denying sleep? But at the time, I was incapable of thinking logically. A little later, Hubbard sent me a telex ordering me to put Nikki Friedman in the chain locker on my ship, the Avon River. She worked for Mary Sue Hubbard, who was in charge of the Guardian's office, but she was traveling with us. And so the thought of Nikki in that dark, freezing metal compartment at night without warm clothes, but it was Hubbard's order. I did it.
I've read the question on Scientology message board yesterday. Isn't it dangerous being in that little compartment when the chains are in there? Can't you be crushed?
That's a wonderful question.
If the ship is leaning, banking to one side, and the chains are heavy.
They are extreme. They weigh tons. There's the chain, the anchor itself is enormous, and then the metal chain, the links are like this. The metal links are huge, thick links. They weigh, you can hardly lift the chain on your own,
Yes.
They are so heavy. When the chain is pulled up into the chain locker, so that only the anchor is hanging out, up on top of the deck, there is a huge metal gadget with a hook and a claw, and the claw goes into the chain link that is available to hold it. So there is little chance that the anchor will unexpectedly come loose and fall down, because when that is happening inside the locker, it is whipping around so fast as it is going out.
And would destroy the
yes,
hull.
Somebody in there would be killed instantly. They would be shredded. There would be no chance of that person surviving. So the only way that that claw could come out of the anchor chain on the deck would be maybe a tremendously severe thunderstorm, a hurricane, which they have in the Mediterranean. But knowing how that was fixed, I never had any anxiety that it would come undone. It was fixed securely.
So it was not that dangerous.
It was always an element of danger, but I did not.
Okay.
Maybe that was also a lack of my thinking logically, not to take that more into consideration at the time. But after back to Nikki Friedman, after she was in there a few hours, I said to hell with it. I couldn't do it. I took her out. We poured hot chocolate down her throat, gave her warm clothes, warmed her up. Was I scared that Hubbard would punish me for non-compliance? Of course. Did he? No, he didn't. What was amazing was that he never questioned me as to why I let her out. And what was even more amazing, that I never questioned disobeying his order and getting away with it. Not even that made me start thinking logically at the time. And now looking back, it showed me the extent to which he controlled me, and indeed all of us. I don't know if you've seen the British Grenada TV
Yes.
documentary.
Most of us have seen it, definitely.
Yes. That shows the Royal Scotsman, the crew on the Royal Scotsman at the time, what they looked like, how they were dressed, and filthy clothes, dressed in rags. They looked degraded, and they looked more like prison convicts than an elite crew helping L Ron Hubbards save the world.
That is true.
Yeah, but none of us saw the glaring contradictions. Now it is obvious, you know, at the time. Again, it shows the extent to which he controlled us. I think I mentioned in my first interview very briefly the first overboard that occurred when Hubbard, one Sea Org officer, we were moving the ships in a storm, which was surprising because Hubbard told us never to endanger our ships and crew. And this one Sea Org officer, Otto Roos, was unable to hold a line, a thick wire cable he was moving from one part of the dock to another part. And it fell into the water because the wind was blowing the Royal Scotsman away. And he was thrown later on from the bridge wing of the Royal Scotsman into the water. I don't know, 4 stories high. I don't know how many meters. And soon after that, Hubbard started the overboards as a regular practice. And I have covered that in the earlier interview. I won't go through it again. That same year, Hubbard ordered Michael Douglas Michael did something wrong, to clean out the bilges at the bottom of the ship. And later on, Hubbard formed the Mud Box Brigade, which was, people were regularly sent down there to clean out the mud boxes. And always, always, the same punishment applied. No sleep, limited food, no toilet breaks, no toilet paper. They just stayed down there for days, cleaning. The man was Hubbard was very depraved. There were times when he was very cruel. Another incident occurred the same year, and I took 1968 because this all happened just in 1 year. She came on board from Celebrity Center San Francisco for training, for executive management training. Hubbard thought she was stealing employees from another organization, and he told me to find her crimes. And I spent an 18-hour day searching, interviewing her, interviewing people who knew her, who were on board. Telexing Celebrity Center San Francisco, has this happened? Telexing Celebrity Center Los Angeles, has this happened over there? To get the replies back quickly as part of the investigation. I came up with nothing. I could not find anything. But that evening, Hubbard happened to see me. He happened to pass me, and he said, "I heard you find the crimes. I want them this evening." And I was shocked because I hadn't found anything. And I felt trapped. And I gave in. For my safety, I gave him what he wanted. And I'm really ashamed to have to publicly admit that I did that. I wrote a report. I said to him, "Yes, sir, she has been stealing these people. You are right." And I sent it to him. And he was triumphant. When he was pleased, he always walked around with his chest out and smiling and nodding to people. And the next day, this innocent woman was declared a suppressive person, and she was sent off the ship and out of Scientology. And, you know, looking back, in a way, she was lucky. She got out at that time, but not that way.